Welcome to the Austin FC season review for 2022, a statistical driven review and story of Austin's progress in the MLS and analysis of their squad, goals and season performance. Thank you for joining us, and please drop a like on the video. It earns the team an extra point towards Austin's final season total. It could make all the difference. Don't forget to subscribe, not to miss any upcoming new content from the channel, and if you prefer to view the data directly, head on to our website, www.upthefnducks.com. Details are below in the description. So if we're all here, let's get into it. In their inaugural season competing in MLS, the Texas-based Austin FC finished in 12th place in the Western Conference, finishing above Houston Dynamo and 24th place in the overall table. The newest side to the top professional league in the United States obtained 9 victories in their 34 league matches, and unfortunately did not get to compete in the US Open Cup as it was cancelled for the second year in a row due to the pandemic. Austin's games in the MLS against Texas-based teams also contributed to the Copa Tejas, a tournament initially founded in 2019 by supporters of San Antonio FC. There was a Division 1 trophy up for grabs for the top Major League Soccer team, with a Division 2 trophy for the top USL Championship team, and the Copa Tejas Shield for the best team across both divisions. In 2021, FC Dallas came out on top with 11 points, with Austin last in third position with just 6. The table was calculated in matches against both Dallas and Houston. For the club's second season in MLS, they maintain with head coach Josh Wolf in his first managerial role following assistant positions with both the United States national team, Columbus Crew and DC United. Austin will expect it again to be fighting in the bottom section of their conference as they look to build on an encouraging first season to become an established name in Major League Soccer, but their fans will be hoping for more. Signed as one of Austin's designated players, Sebastian Driussi comes with experience in a left wing or attacking midfield position. After a July 2021 acquisition, he started 16 matches with 1 substitute appearance for Austin last season, returning 5 goals and 3 assists. Prior to his move, the Argentinian spent the last 4 seasons playing with Zenit St. Petersburg in the Russian Premier League, winning the last 3 league titles in Russia. As a regular starter in the Zenit midfield, he amassed 138 appearances, totaling 22 goals. Driussi will continue to wear the number 7 shirt for the 2022 campaign. On Football Manager 2022, he plays as an inverted winger or inside forward from the left, cutting inside on his right foot. While also having the capability to play in attacking midfield or up front, his attributes are very solid across the board, and for Austin in comparison with the team, he is certainly seen as a star player who could still improve. One item to note is the identified player trait of shoots with power. Let's watch this space if this is seen during his time in the MLS. Making way to free up one of the designated player spots in the squad is Thomas Pochettino, who returns to his native Argentina on a loan deal with River Plate. Austin signed a contract extension with Alexander Ring as well as the capture of Driussi, which meant with Cecilio Dominguez they were over their allocation. Pochettino had made 31 appearances for Austin in their first season, often playing in centre midfield, and returned 2 goals, both of which were scored against Houston in a 3-2 victory in May. The loan deal does include an option to buy for River Plate at the end of the season. Now, Pochettino's Football Manager 2022 attributes highlight his capability as a playmaker from more of a central midfield position. He has the capability to play off the right, as well as in the number 10 attacking midfield role. The Argentinian offers versatility alongside strong technique. Austin have bolstered their midfield ranks with the signing of Colombian defensive midfielder Jojan Valencia. At 25, his career to date has been exclusively in the Colombian leagues, progressing through the ranks at Deportivo Cali. Last season he appeared over 50 times in various competitions, assisting the team in winning the Categoria Primera A season. He will take one of Austin's international spots in the squad and will wear number 5 on his back. The Football Manager 2022 attributes for Valencia rate him strongly in the Austin squad, as more of a holding-based central midfielder, due to his good passing, tackling and anticipation. His limited flair and vision hinder any playmaking potential, which might cause issue with his attempt to try a long-range pass. But in other traits he looks to dictate the tempo, and coming deep to get the ball do suit him in both a DM or a CM position. An MLS All-Star legend with Sporting Kansas City hung up his boots following the conclusion of the 2021 MLS season, where he played for Austin. Matt Besler competed in 13 consecutive MLSs, 12 of which were with Sporting Kansas, where he won the MLS Cup in 2013, in addition to 3 separate US Open Cups. A once MLS Defender of the Year in 2013, Besler retires with over 300 appearances to his name, as well as 47 caps for the United States. He was involved in the 2014 World Cup, making 4 starts for the US national team. His solo international goal came against the St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 2018. He retires aged 35. His Football Manager 2022 attributes, of course, have to take the context of his age, so his physical attributes have dropped. But still, to have a 14 for both natural fitness and strength is rather impressive. His long throw capability is highlighted not only with an 18 in the attributes, but alongside the player trait, possesses a long flat throw. The season began for Austin in the months of February and March, starting with FC Cincinnati at home, Inter Miami at home, Portland Timbers away, and finally Seattle Sounders at home. As opening day results go, a 5-0 resounding victory is about as positive a start as you could imagine. The expectancy against the bottom point scoring side from 2021 at home was always for a comfortable win. This always looked on the cards after Cecilio Dominguez got on the end of a sweeping free kick after just 2 minutes. Alexander Ring and Sebastian Jurissi added their names to the scoresheet in the first half, before Dominguez doubled up his goal scoring with his second. Moussa Jite ended Cincinnati's misery, beating his man in from the wing and scoring from an angle the goalkeeper would be very disappointed by. Another 5-goal haul for Austin meant their 10 goals scored in the opening 2 weekends of the MLS was a record. At home for the second week in a row, this time to Inter Miami, the attacking was emphatic, as the Q2 Stadium was treated to a 5-1 victory. Stats would suggest that 6 shots on target each, it would be a closer game, but the quality of the chances for Austin and devastating finishing meant the result was never in doubt. 2 more goals for Sebastian Jurissi were sandwiched between a Julio Cascante header and a well-worked free kick. After Leonardo Campagna had replied with a consolation for Miami, substitute Ethan Finley scored twice, with his second the pick of the bunch, smashing into the top corner from the right side of the area. After a dream first 2 weeks of the season for Austin, they faced an entirely different challenge, travelling to last season's MLS Cup runners-up, Portland Timbers. In the first half with no goals, Bill Tuiloma came closest to breaking the deadlock, flicking a header onto the far post. Although Austin did have the ball in the net through Sebastian Drusi's tap-in, it was well offside on the replay. Therefore, it was Tuiloma who scored the only goal of the game, from a Yumi Shara pinpoint free kick. This time he got his head on the aerial ball to accurately effect as he parried it past Brad Stuver, who had no chance from 6 yards. Austin piled on the pressure late, but to no avail, as they went down to their first defeat of the season. Following their first loss of the season, Austin returned to the Q2 Stadium to face a tough home tie on matchday 4 against Seattle Sounders. The visitors struck first just 2 minutes before half-time, as Christian Roldan was released in acres of space down the right wing, before sliding a low cross for Will Broyne to get first and bundle in for the lead. Leo Chu missed a glorious chance to go 2 goals ahead, poking over the bar from close range, while Alexander Ring came closest for Austin, hitting a volley against the woodwork. They did get their equaliser following a failure from Seattle to clear a cross into the box, allowing Diego Fagundes to turn smartly and flick past Stephen Cleveland. This ensured both teams would share the points, as Austin moved on to 7 points before the international break. At the end of March, Austin had positioned in 4th place in the Western Conference, with just Los Angeles FC, Real Salt Lake and Minnesota United ahead of them. San Jose Earthquakes and Vancouver Whitecaps were bringing up the bottom of the conference. On the eastern side, Philadelphia Union were topping the table, while Montreal and Miami were sitting at the bottom. Moving into April brought 6 games for Austin, which included the US Open Cup for the first time in their history, as it was postponed last season due to the pandemic. They also had 5 MLS games, which included 3 away and 2 at home. A visit to San Jose opened Austin's April MLS calendar, as they shared a 2-2 draw on the West Coast. Maxi Urruti scored his first goal for the Verdi with a stunning half volley from 25 yards, which looped into the top corner. Early in the second half, Sebastian Drusi fired in a penalty, following a foul on Danny Pereira for his 4th of the season. With a 2-goal lead, Josh Wolf must have been confident of taking 3 points back to Texas, but 2 goals in 2 minutes, one a penalty from Jeremy Ibabise and the other a scrambled finish from a corner from Cade Cowell, brought about the equaliser. This result meant it was 3 games without a win in the MLS, following the opening impressive wins from their first 2 matches. Austin did get back to winning ways when Adrian Heath brought his Minnesota United side to the Q2 Stadium. Minnesota had only lost once so far, last time out to Seattle, and proved difficult to beat in a first half that suffered with no shots on target. but the second half picked up on the entertainment value, with both teams contributing to a total of 8 on target after half-time. It was Maxi Urruti who broke the deadlock on 58 minutes, scoring his second in 2 games. Urruti smartly swivelled volleyed a Hector Jimenez square ball. It was the only goal of the game, as Austin picked up their third home win of the season, as well as a second clean sheet for Brad Stuver. 5 goals were shared on Austin's visit to DC United, with the Verdi picking up back-to-back MLS wins. In an eventful match, DC's Olo Kamara had a dream first half, with 2 early goals on 26 and 40 minutes. But before the half-time whistle, dream turned into nightmare for Kamara, as he was shown a second yellow card for wiping out Sebastian Driussi. His first booking for taking his shirt off in celebration looked even more silly in hindsight. It allowed Austin to completely reverse the result, with a frantic last 10 minutes scoring 3 goals. Danny Hosen profited from a corner before Driussi equalised with 5 minutes left on the clock. Heading into injury time, Ruben Gabrielson nodded down a long ball into the box and it squirmed under the body of Bill Hamid, devastating the home DC fans, but an emphatic celebration and a remarkable comeback in the away section. As a result of the pandemic last season, with the subsequent cancellation of the US Open Cup, the third round tie against San Antonio in 2022 represented Austin's debut in the competition. Austin looked to be headed towards the last 32 after Diego Fagundes scored 2 minutes into the second half. But Elliot Collier forced the match into extra time with his equaliser in the 82nd minute. The home side then produced an upset when Carter Manley redirected his header into the bottom corner from a Mitchell Tainter headed pass. Felipe Martins almost equalised in the second period with his header glancing off the crossbar, as Austin's first US Open Cup match ended with elimination. Austin recorded a comfortable home win on matchday 8, with visiting Vancouver struggling for form and only picking up a single win in their first 7 matches. A 3-0 win started with Maxi Urruti getting the first, profiting from a turnover in midfield for a first-time finish on 11 minutes. The Argentinian then bagged a brace in the 26th minute with his 4th of the season, a smart turn on the edge of the box and an angled shot into the far corner. It didn't get any better in the second half for Vancouver, as a flick on throw-in allowed Sebastian Driussi to complete the damage. The Whitecaps had plenty of shots, but only managed a single attempt on target from 12 attempted, as Austin made it 3 wins in 3. In the first All-Texas clash of the season for Austin, their opponents Houston scored an incredible opening goal. A stunning halfway-line strike from Sebastian Ferreira sailed over the head of a backpedalling Brad Stuver as he was scrambling back from a clearance. To add further insult, Stuver injured himself in the process and had to be replaced with Andrew Tarbell. Austin did level before half-time though, with Danny Pereira getting on the end of an Ethan Finley cross, before their star man early on in the season, Sebastian Driussi, added a 7th to his overall goal total, curling into the top corner from just inside the box to give Austin a 2-1 win. Post-match, it was confirmed Stuver's knee injury would keep him out for the coming weeks, with Tarbell in line to get some more game time as their backup goalkeeper. At the end of April, Austin had climbed into second place in the Western Conference, just 2 points behind Los Angeles FC. No team had scored more than Austin in both conferences, as their attack was proving difficult to handle. At the bottom of the Western Conference, San Jose and Vancouver continued to maintain the bottom spots, while over on the Eastern, Philadelphia, New York Red Bulls and Orlando City were dueling it out at the top. Sebastian Driussi was in fine form for Austin during the month of April. This was recognised by his crowning as the MLS Player of the Month for his performance, with 4 wins and a draw in the 5 games that Austin played. And Driussi played the full 90 minutes in each of these games, except for Vancouver, where he came off with 6 minutes to go when the game was won. The Argentinian scored in 4 of these games, continuing his exceptional start to the season, which saw him joint top scorer in MLS at the close of April. With this success, he also picks up the landmark of being the first ever Austin FC player to win an MLS Player of the Month award. In early April, Paraguayan midfielder Cecilio Dominguez was suspended from all activity in football by the MLS. This following an investigation into a report of a domestic dispute which was conducted in cooperation with local law enforcement. Dominguez was not arrested or charged with a crime, but the news was not well received by sections of the Austin FC fanbase, with the Austin Anthem, an independent supporters group, releasing a statement to condemn the decision to reinstate. The general feeling was the process did not provide enough transparency and concerns that the fans have over the nature and details of the dispute. Due to Austin's elimination from the US Open Cup, they found themselves with MLS fixtures only until the end of the season, 5 of which were in May, 2 at home, 3 away, including a doubleheader against LA Galaxy. Austin's winning run came to an end on a hot Sunday evening at the end of match week 10. Facing LA Galaxy at the Q2 Stadium, their third MLS home match in a row, the Verde came unstuck with a 1-0 defeat. The only goal of the game came early on. In the 6th minute, a loose Ethan Finlay pass was controlled and struck from distance by Mark Delgado. It sneaked past the fingertips of Andrew Tarbell and the inside post from around 25 yards. The home side pushed on in the second half for an equaliser, but despite a late effort from Sebastian Driussi hitting the post from a free kick, Austin failed to come back as they went down to their first loss of the season at the Cube 2. Josh Wolff, the first ever head coach for Austin FC, agreed to a 3-year contract extension which would take him to the end of the 2025 season. At the time of signature, Austin was sitting second in the Western Conference as the club thinks extremely highly of their head coach. Austin FC sporting director Claudio Reyna stated, "Josh is a young and very talented coach who we trust to lead this club on the field moving forward. His extension will take Wolff to 2025, and with the early going in this year's MLS looking optimistic, fans of the Verde will believe opportunity for success in their early history is a real possibility." On matchday 11, Austin followed up with their second loss in a row, this time at the hands of Real Salt Lake. The Verde had taken the lead on 24 minutes through Alexander Ring, who shot hard and low from an extremely tight angle. But the match swung with a red card for Danny Pereira. He pushed over a through-on-goal Bobby Wood just after half-time and was promptly giving his marching orders. Michael Chang equalised for Real Salt Lake on 55 minutes before a long-range Andrew Brody strike 2 minutes from the end saw Austin go down 2-1. A result which helped close the gap as RSL in 5th place moved to within a point of 3rd place Austin. Austin hit the dizzying heights at the top of the table, defeating Western Conference title rivals Los Angeles FC on matchday 12. Ruben Gabrielson took advantage of a corner situation to give Austin the lead on 13 minutes as the game remained with a single goal for most of the evening. On 80 minutes however, Diego Fagundes doubled their advantage, firing in at the near post after a sumptuous Rabona through ball on the halfway line from Sebastian Driussi. For LAFC, Carlos Vela dispatched a late penalty, but it was Austin's night to celebrate. The result also sees Austin top the Supporters' Shield, with FC Dallas losing surprisingly to Vancouver. At the Q2 Stadium, Austin hosted Oscar Pareja's Orlando City in a match that ended in a 2-2 draw, otherwise known as a Desmond 2-2. The usually reliable Brad Stuver gifted Orlando the lead in just the 2nd minute, mistaking a pass to Junior Urso, who promptly found Erkan Kara to finish. It was double trouble for Austin on 22 minutes as Ruan pounced on a rebound save from Stuver to make it 2-0. But Orlando then imploded with 2 red cards, ensuring they would finish the game with just 9 men. Rodrigo Schlegel was the first to go with 2 quick handballs, with his second giving Sebastian Driussi the opportunity to score from the penalty spot with his 8th of the season. Cesar Arujo kicked out at Alexander Ring to get his red card, which left deep into injury time Austin chasing an equaliser, which came to a rapturous response from the Austin fans as Moussa Djite stuck in at the back post to rescue a point. At the Dignity Health Sports Park, Austin fell to their heaviest defeat of the season at the hands of LA Galaxy. They were defeated 4-1 in an afternoon which also saw Brad Stuver save a Chicharito penalty kick. Frustratingly, Austin actually took the lead through Diego Fagundes on 53 minutes, finishing an Owen Wolff pass. It was LA Galaxy substitute Dejan Hovalic who took the headlines as he was involved in all 4 goals, with 2 goals and 2 assists, which proved to be an MLS record. Chicharito and Efrain Alvarez were the other scorers, as May finished on a disappointing note for Austin. So the table at the end of May saw Austin drop to 4th place, but it's still very congested up the top of the Western Conference, but they're well inside the playoff positions at this moment in time. Vancouver and Sporting Kansas have continued to prop up the table. Moving across to the eastern side, New York City have started to set the pace, with Philadelphia Union, New York Red Bulls and Montreal in pursuit. At the end of May, Austin are positioned 4th in the Western Conference with 24 points. Overall, competing for the Supporters' Shield, they are placed 6th. In all competitions, they have a goals per game ratio of 1.93 scored and 1.33 conceded. In the 7 home games played by Austin so far, they have won 4, drawn 2 and lost 1, scoring a total of 17 goals at a rate of 2.43 goals per game. Austin have also conceded 5 goals at a rate of 0.71 goals per game, which is a good home record for Austin. In the 8 away games played by Austin so far, they've won 3, drawn 1 and lost 4, scoring a total of 12 goals at a rate of 1.5 goals per game. Austin have also conceded 15 goals at a rate of 1.88 goals per game, and have made no wins by a gap of more than 1. Sebastian Driussi leads the way with 8 goals so far, putting him third in the MLS scoring charts behind Jesus Jimenez of Toronto and Jeremy Babise of San Jose. With 11 different scorers so far, confidence in front of goal is high within the squad. With 7 assists in the opening 15 games, it's Diego Fagundes who tops the Austin assist charts at the end of May. With a total of 16 last season, he has made a good start in his bid to equal or better his 2021 tally. Looking at matches played by Austin so far in the MLS, the Eastern Conference they are unbeaten, with the standout 5-0 and 5-1 wins against Cincinnati and Inter Miami coming at home. Across to the Western Conference they've lost twice to LA Galaxy, a loss to Real Salt Lake in third, but they did beat top of the table Los Angeles FC. Looking at the bottom side of the conference, they've had very good results at home, but have struggled a little bit more away from home. Across the first 15 games of the season, Josh Wolff has used exclusively a 4-3-3 formation, with some variation to a 4-2-3-1 in some games. 23 different players have been named in his starting lineups to date. Austin have a strong pass completion percentage in the league at 84%, which places them third overall when compared with other MLS teams. Attacking wise, Austin have an average shot on target percentage of 30.6%. This positions the club in 24th, while the Verdi is 7th for total shots taken in all. Defensively, Brad Stuver is 5th for saves percentage at 73.5%. Stuver has also recorded 3 clean sheets to date. Austin have also triumphed in just 47.6% of all combative duels with their opponents, which positions them 23rd. Brad Stuver starts his second successive season as the Austin FC #1 goalkeeper, since moving from New York City in 2020. He secured his first clean sheet of the season against Inter Miami on matchday 2, and has proceeded to make a further 2 in subsequent games, with his last coming against Vancouver on matchday 9. With a total of 15 conceded overall, he records an average of 1.35 goals conceded per game. It's an early improvement comparing with his numbers of last season, where he conceded 1.6 goals per game. He played in every MLS game except one in 2020, and Stuver recorded 5 clean sheets last year, so he's already 60% of the way to matching that total in 2022. Backup Andrew Tarbell came into the side when, unfortunately for Stuver, he injured his knee when beaten by Sebastian Ferreira's halfway line effort against Houston. Tarbell played in 2 MLS matches as well as a US Open Cup match, keeping his clean sheet in the remainder of the Houston game. Young goalkeeper Damian Lass signed from Fulham in the winter. Despite not making an appearance yet for Austin, he stepped up to the substitute bench duties during Stuver's 2-game MLS injury. At the fullback positions, both Nick Lima at right back and Zan Komaric at left back have started most often. The pair have picked up 3 assists between them in the early going, with the Slovenian Komaric making 2 direct assists already. This has also been the case for standing right back Hector Jimenez, with his 2 assists coming from 4 starts and 5 substitute appearances. The fullback assist total was strong after the opening months, but has slowed down somewhat in May. Josh Wolff has also turned to John Gallagher, dropping back into a left back option. In the 5 matches the Irishman has started, Austin have won 3 of these games. Julio Cascante has been ever present in the centre of defence. The Costa Rican partnered twice with Kip Keller in the early weeks, before Keller was switched out for Ruben Gabrielson, with the stand of the opposition in the last 2 matches of March onwards arguably more difficult than the opening 2. It appears that Josh Wolff has maintained this switch, as Gabrielson has now partnered Cascante on 12 occasions out of the 15 opportunities by the end of May. Jojan Romano appeared to be on the long-term injury list, but no update is yet available on his absence. Argentinian Sebastian Driussi has been included in the midfielder list, as he has mostly been playing a number 10/shadow striker role so far, but he could easily be considered as part of the attacking unit. 8 goals and 4 assists from 15 matches outlines his attacking threat. He sits third at the end of May in the total MLS top goalscoring list for 2022. Last year, his mid-season move from Zenit St Petersburg saw him score 5 times in 17 appearances for Austin, at a rate of 3.07 per game, showing how much he is excelling in his output this season. Captain Alexander Ring and Daniel Pereira have been the consistent partnership in centre midfield, sat behind Driussi and controlling that high percentage possession, while Jojan Valencia and Felipe Martins have made most of their appearances to date from the substitutes bench. Teenager Owen Wolff has made multiple appearances at just 17. The son of manager Josh Wolff also has an assist to his name, setting up Diego Fagundes against LA Galaxy. Certainly a future to watch for the young Wolff. In the early weeks of the Austin FC season, Wolff's selections in the wide positions were Uruguayan Diego Fagundes down the right and Paraguayan Cecilio Dominguez down the left. However, Dominguez was embroiled in an off-field domestic situation which consequently led to a suspension from all games after matchday 4. An update in early May confirms that Dominguez has been reinstated with the investigation completed. The Paraguayan missed 5 games in all, as Ethan Finley picked up some consistent game time with his absence, but despite the 2 goals of Finley, it's the Uruguayan Fagundes who has the more direct goal involvement, a total of 11 in all, with 4 being goals scored and assists credited with 7, at a rate of an assist every 1.92 games. Dominguez and Fagundes lead the assists last season for Austin, so it's not a shock to see the Uruguayan already with 7 assists to his name. Maximiliano Urruti has been starting up front as the central striker, scoring 4 goals to date in his first season for the club. Last campaign for Houston Dynamo, the Argentinian hit the net 7 times, and is already over halfway to that total. Moussa Jite of Senegal and Danny Hosen of Netherlands have mainly been restricted to off-the-bench appearances, with both also getting their name on an Austin score sheet. Both Rodney Redes and Jared Stroud have been limited for minutes in the Austin matchday squad so far. 72.4% of Austin FC's 29 goals scored are coming from open play situations, with 21 out of 29 goals. Austin are just behind the league average at 74.2%, but have still scored goals from set pieces as well, with 8 goals to date. This is a good total considering only 2 of these have been from penalty kicks. Looking at goals conceded, 20% have come from set piece situation, which represents 4 of 20 goals, which is below the league average. 2 of these also come from penalties. Austin have been efficient at defending indirect situations at this point in the season. A high proportion of goals scored for Austin have come from inside the box, working the ball in the 18-yard box with only a single Maxi Urruti goal coming from outside the penalty area. This is 6% above the average of all MLS teams, as just over 90% of goals in all competitions are from inside 18 yards. Austin's goals scored have been pretty well spread over the 90 minutes so far, their most prolific period being between the 61st and 90th minutes. In 3 of the 15-minute time slots in normal time, Austin have only conceded a single goal, while the 61st to 90th minute is also where opponents have got the most joy against them. With 10.3% total goals coming from corners, Austin sit just above the overall MLS team average, but they've defended them well, only conceding from a single corner, as well as a single indirect free kick. Considering Austin's impressive goal scoring total, only 2 have come from penalties as they sit below the league average. Austin have benefited from a higher number of controlled passes, as their possession and high number of passes in central areas sees them open up opportunities. The same, however, can be said for how they concede, but 25% of all their goals against were at least partly down to an individual error. The classification of individual errors, controlled passes and goals can be seen on our website www.upthefmducks.com. 10 of the 29 goals scored by Austin this season have nestled in the bottom left-hand corner. The remaining goals are well spread, with Austin regularly hitting the net to date this season. With their goals conceded, Struve has been beaten in the bottom corners. 70% conceded by himself and Andrew Tarbell have entered the net in the bottom portions of the goal. In summary, so far this season for Austin has been a positive one. They're up in 4th place in their MLS conference and battling very closely with the teams right at the top. Compared to last season, they certainly would have snapped your hand off at the beginning of this campaign. But the feeling amongst the fans is they could still do more. Attacking wise, they're as dangerous as any other team in even both conferences. Sebastian Driussi is as much a talented player as you'll find in any of the other squads. But challenges come defensively when you look at how many goals they've conceded with other teams around them. It'll be interesting to see how Austin get on. They'll certainly be looking at the playoffs at a minimum and hoping for a deep run and who knows, maybe success at the end. That's all for today. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video, as these season reviews are something new I've been working on for quite some time, and I hope you found informative and interesting. If you enjoyed, please support the channel with a like, subscribe and hit that notification button, as we have more in-depth season reviews to come. Also available are other stat and season reviews for the MLS, and also our satirical Football Manager season on FM22, currently with Swansea City. I want to give credit to the guys over at sortitoutsi.com who produced the kit graphics we use today. They're developed for Football Manager, and of course we are using last season's shirt as the ones available, but do check them out for their extensive work. Again, thank you for enjoying the video, and I hope to see you soon.